The soul only flies out from the hands of Lao military road music, straight towards Than Min, at a tremendous speed, to the point of not being able to see with the naked eye. And at that time, it's cool. Swinging the sword straight at the spirit chase, just flying in. The soul is just off course, flying past the Ming people. Puncture the support of the power in the back. In the opposite, the band rolled its eyes as if it were about to take raw. He flew after the soul filled only with my inner strength SAO. It just needs to be a little bit off. Then it's quite easy to destroy the weapon. And stuck it right up its neck. But the boy didn't use much power. And just calm down, swinging sword. I could do such a perfect move. Is there anyone here who knows that trick? How hard is it? But quickly, he went on. I seem to have despised you too much. I told you, he will surely regret it. Maybe also but. 2-pipe sleeve of puffed military line. As if about to tear. At the same time, a stream of air starts spinning around his body. The rising air legs stir up the surrounding principle. From now on, will use all my strength to fight you. The road music bloomed a devilish smile. He must be dying to know. The boy's limits are in front of me. Is to get there. His whole body right now, it continues to emit an air of pressure. Stronger than before. Clear eyes focused on thinking. With just the gas that his body emits. It can also make the air around you shake. I'm a little bit dead, no kidding. Like the biggest point of non-magic is that once it's out, it's hard to get it back. Or in other words, even if the music isn't meant to kill me. The moment he uttered it. If you die by mistake, you can't stop it. His head fell off his neck. Very quickly after that, the pen's soul-tracing stick just flies too, along with the piercing sound that tore through the air. Each bar one direction, SAO, the light can be immediately observed, and their speed is completely different. Although in a different direction, but they're definitely coming. Attack me at the same time. Haha, Than Min shouted for an hour to get air, and then stretched. Straight, sword out the back to get momentum. The sword's bow fluttered slightly. And it immediately starts to vibrate very strongly with a wide amplitude, separate into rows of 10 swords. Covering the air. Excellent technique, my Hoa, swordplay, my Hoa bitch. The metal of Than Min is intertwined to create a network of swordsmanship. Ken. The 3 spirits just flew in, but it's impossible to get through. The curtain of the sword made by the Ming. They were finally thrown out. Military road music revealed eyes exclaimed. And very quickly, he kept reaching out. Mobilize internal forces to collect my daggers. Make them float. It automatically flies back to its owner. As soon as he gets them back. Then immediately put in the effort to continue. Shockwave 5 consecutive torsion. Male blades flying at different speeds. Drop into the Ming. Compared to the previous 3 blades, it was significantly slower. But the power is inside. It's impossible to cover. I can totally understand that power. You keep using flanged apricots to stop them. The first dagger VA touched with the sword screen. Made by Than Min. The impact of the VA is too large. It feels like my wrist wants to break. The second dagger pushed the entire drape behind, This time, parts of the body that seemed to be in shock. Ken, the third dagger. It's created a giant hole in the sword. Created by Than Min. Ken, the fourth dagger, is completely broken. The whole sword is wearing it. I fucking lost my balance. The last remaining dagger. It's still flying, along with its terrible power. But not right behind the fifth dagger. It's another dagger. It's hidden behind it. And as soon as those two daggers came close to the place and prepared to stab the man of Ming, it's almost 1,000 people in control and dodged the prison spectacularly. Zoke. Soul tracing just cut a long line on Than Min's chest. And the spirit bar is only Thursday, that the Ming has not yet conquered. It caused a wound in his thigh. The wind is spinning around in the air and landed on the ground. He quickly points the acupressure to stop the bleeding. Of course, if you let the blood flow like that, you can't die. But if you lose too much blood, your fitness is impaired. If physical strength is impaired, concentration will be lost. Someone who's been rolling around for a long time on the battlefield, like Than Min, know that minimizing the injury, it's the fastest way to save lives. On the other hand, the band is staring at you with faces that can't be understood. What's going on? Ha 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 ha. Not only did he get through 5 hurdles in a row, but also through the power of destiny. The sign behind me. Look at him. It is no longer at the level of a post-mortem. Then, this guy is really strong. While the military road is not out of shock, then he stared at him seriously. And raise your voice. There are 6 more tricks. Road Army music. Let's pause my previous thoughts and continue to mobilize the dagger to capture. He's thinking about 6 moves. If the purpose of this fight, to prove that you are the world, the first of the next generation, the boy soon achieved that goal. But it's weird. I want to know how talented this boy is. The boy couldn't guess at all. What else is that talent hiding? Even if the first generation of the next generation, do you have to die at my hands? I still want to know. Creak. The soul only makes a sound. 3 blades are launched. Ming's face froze. When you see the blades coming, I came here to pack. His feet crashed to the ground and disappeared. In front of everyone's surprised eyes. Clear back in. The spirit bars are just flying towards me. The distance is narrowing. The power of magic is growing. Because the things that are launched naturally fly farther. Its power will be lost. But if we retreat, there will be no victory. This place belongs to the military. The Sword of Dawn can't touch the road. Although this is a martial arts match for testing purposes. But if not pursue victory in a match, I bet my life, then that person is no longer a sage. We must move forward despite the danger. What Min needs to grab is not in the back. It's in the front. Bafai Bar, the sword of the Ming sword. Every time you hit a dart, the pain felt as if the wrist was about to break. Come again. Than Min's internal work has not reached the level. I can stand it. The mighty inner city of the monarchs. Even if it is, try to endure it. As long as the wrist doesn't break. Until the end of this fight. There's something else later. Just 5 more moves. A short dry line to get the atmosphere. Get excited and wave your sleeves wide. 7 blades are launched at the same time. Then you try this. Sublime Soul Segment 7-star Sawdust. Than Min's eyes widened when you see the blades fly in the direction of 7 stars. It's too much for us to beat. But we can't go back. Because then, we will also be stopped and killed immediately. Because we've seen it before. It's a technique by the name of the damned sugar. So, of course, we know how to deal with them. And this time, he shouted a loud voice, and then hurtled towards the 7 flying daggers. 2. If you step back, it will gradually be controlled by the next evolution of the 7-star soul, and will eventually be pierced through the neck. Than Min plunged himself up to 3 inches, and they're constantly in the air. Skillfully pass through between the blades. There are 4 tricks. First time, the music can't hide the shock. An astonishing sound came out of his mouth. But very quickly, the face of music in a moment. I have found calm again. He recovered the soul only. At the same time, he launched 5 soul-searching rods different from the Buddha. The spirit bars just spin at tremendous speed, creating waves of vibrations in the air. The soul-searching bars just before the Glade Road. It's impossible to compare with the spirit bars just now. Okay? You can't avoid this. Min clenched his teeth. The inner palace hidden inside. 5 daggers are flying there, nothing. It seems to have crushed the body of the devil. He put as much energy as he could into his sword. My Hoa Vu great signing. A sword strike like a cannon tomorrow. That blows up the blades that are coming. Right after that, Than Min immediately suffered from blood clots because of the countershock force. The body is rejecting our movements. This is the price to pay for just suffering. The foot of the road music. I was in a hurry to use the sword. 3 more dimensions. Min swallowed it all. Blood is coming down from the throat. The music was not missed. A gap in this moment of enlightenment. Or the dagger. Flying at tremendous speed in his direction. Than Min Yu. Now, these things don't work for us. You just said you've gathered the rest of your energy. Just swing your sword at that dagger. And at that moment, his eyes widened as if they were about to collapse. More, a sword appeared in front of him. The dagger is flying. It's like there's never been a shovel. The situation is so critical that all of Hoa-san's students are watching. Also very panicked. Zoke. The dagger just poked straight into the face of Than Min. Than Min. To witness a display of his brothers pushing. Especially the master. Immediately filled with deadly gas that screamed 7 bars. Ran out right after that. To the side of the line. But very quickly, the white sky held him tight. With blood-red eyes. I have to kill this son of a bitch. Calm down, Grumpy. Calm down. What else is that son of a bitch? That kid's not dead yet. What do you say? At that time the light is falling in the air. He turned and landed gently on the ground. To see that scene, a meticulous sigh of anxiety. The light hit the ground, and he raised his head. In his mouth, he is holding the sword. That the line of music came. He threw his sword to the ground. Then swallowed. The blood flowed out. I almost fucking died. The band was surprised. Before the power of the light, it's even more admirable now. Clearly, we've targeted that guy's loophole. And worth it. The sword must pierce its face. But that, in such a short moment. But it's able to stop a large amount of airflow to the chin and mouth to suck up my dagger. How could he react so quickly? I just thought and unconsciously put along you cool. Although it's a very simple improvisation. But in a life-threatening moment, that can improvise like that. It's absolutely not a trivial thing. At least, he is not a boy who has to die. When you can't show off what you have. With martial arts and improvisation like that, along with mastery, it seems to have reached perfection. Genius. It's an ineffable word about this boy. At the same time, the voice of the Lord spoke, interrupting his thoughts. 8 tricks. He stared at the road music. Then keep talking. There are 2 more. Now we can't laugh anymore. The music just landed. He just handed out a dagger. If you can avoid this dagger, you won today. Then he began to move his feet into the dagger in his hand. When the dagger began to flutter and waving around like a living carp. A mighty stream of air is brought in, makes it oscillate at such a rapid rate that make the observers mistakenly thought that the dagger is a real living creature. Sweat started pouring out all over the back of Min. The atmosphere of this move is terrible. It's just a hint. But the power, it's taken to a completely different level. It's dangerous not to be this close. Shine quickly jumped back to stretch the distance. At this time, the music also has a small voice. Take it. Withdraw the words of the dagger in the palm of the line of music. Then shoot straight towards the Ming. Not in this situation. The word shoot can't be described exactly. About the speed of the dart. It's so fast that it creates a powerful tornado. Wrap around it. Body Than Min, extreme stress. God damn it, I can't fight that attack. And even if you try to avoid, I'll be caught up in that storm too. Without hesitation. This is the situation. It's not just thinking it can be solved. I believe my sword knows everything. My sword contains everything. My sword is the mountain. The paint is my sword. He put his sword in front of the tip of the sword. Headlight vibration. You have to trust your own sword. Bloom. The sword of the Ming moves gracefully. And then there's 10 apricot flowers blooming around the tip of his sword. With that, it's a storm of air swords that's launched forward. Powerful air sword blows, bringing the colors of bright tomorrow. The wings of tomorrow are overgrown. It doesn't break even in the storm. And eventually the flower will bloom. After 100 years, the flower will bloom again. On the tip of my sword at the same time. The highest level of defense of the next 24 hours. Swordsmanship flower. After 100 years, it's finally coming back. Hoa Sun, excellent swordsmanship, my Hoa Nam bitch. Flowering flowers overlapped each other to form a solid wall. Nothing can break through. The principle surging from Than Min's crochet, transmitted to the sword, and create hundreds of other flowers. And the flowers are covered, and then covers the entire trajectory of the illusion. But then the implication just pierced the morning flower. The wings of tomorrow can't stand the power of the sword. Immediately turn, lost, before the eyes of the army. Music and everyone. Hundreds of wings of tomorrow did not stop. A flying stick. It just goes on like that, rushing through. My Hoa Nen bitch. I see that the light is still stable. He stepped back and kept going back. Even so, he keeps creating flowers on his head. Search my Hoa Nen bitch, my Hoa Nen bitch. If 1 times 0 works, try 10 times. If 10 times 0 works, try 100 times. No matter the day came last night, no matter the fall to the winter. Even if the sun changes and time changes. The flower of the future will never stop blooming. 7 failures are temporary. And after everything is over, the flowers will continue to bloom. There is no force that can resist the principle. Everything circulates. And no one can stop the flowers from blooming. Just like that, the air swords are constantly. Is launched by Than Min non-stop. Along with the sound that creates extreme occlusion. Than Min quickly realized the implication. It's slowly losing its original power. Joy blossomed in the eyes of the Ming. And in that moment, from the position of the line, music again another flying stick. At an astonishing speed. It's towards the light. No, it's not that. This dagger is aimed exactly. The avatar is just losing its power ahead of it. The voice of the cold military road echoed. I already told you. This is not the same as the previous ones. When he just finished. Kang. Along with the sound of a landslide, the second flying sound. And the dagger just now. And obsessing, just immediately regained the power to tear down the wall of tomorrow. In front of the surprised face. Very fast, the sailor is slowly losing his power. Quickly, it's still surrounded by an airflow. Strong. Min's eyes opened wide. It's fucking here again. Even stronger than before, yes. And then it creates a giant tornado. Enough to cover all the rocks on the ground. And rushed towards the Ming. 10 moves. Clenching his teeth. This is the last trick. He shouted and held the sword in his hand. It seemed like the sword was about to break. The power of his hands. God damn it, he's going to do that. Are the lepers worried? There's no way he's going to die. Snow right now. I can't keep my cool face anymore. But wide open eyes sweating. But it's too late to avoid the blow. The sword of God holds the sword in his hand. If this is your decision, then I believe you. Let's go and show them what a flower sword is. It means that all the air and the rocks are in to form a land long. And Ming is plunging into that horrible thing. The whole principle at the plantation was transported by him. It makes his whole body spin. The outside air reacts to the internal force, and then gets sucked into the body of Min Min. And then, he poured all his energy into the last drop. Put it all on the sword. Flower paint excellent swordsmanship. My Hoa said. An eerie sound along with a powerful shockwave. Immediately created, as soon as the two sides touch. The sword seemed unbearable. The power of that stream. And finally, the tip of the sword was broken. Shout out loud, and put all this horrible energy. From the thigh to the waist, then Yang's sword from bottom to top. Finally, illusion of the military road music. He was struck by the sword to one side. It's right over his head. It's like a tornado in the background. God damn it. But at the same time, blood sputtered from the mouth of Than Min, gushing out like a waterfall. Min's feet kicked hard on the ground, while his body was still trembling. We're almost at the limit. But it's not done yet. I know the last trick is not over. Right now, the hint that he hit is coming back towards his back. I can feel the scary air behind my back. This thing is the whole thing. How great is that? The master died because of this cruel trick. Those who are on guard after avoiding illusion. He would have died because he stabbed her in the back. Joint venture continued. Cover. It's probably the most proud thing in my life. But I'm used to this game. Because we've seen it so many times. It's boring. Come to Than Min, fly yourself into the air. Then draw the sword closer. And then use the body of the sword to stop. The pilot is coming. There was a big shock. It's so horrible that it seems. Min's body was crumbling after holding that dagger. In that moment of upheaval, the soldiers did not lose their spirit. The opposite. He's using counterforce to plunge forward. I got you. Army music panicked when I see the light coming on me. It's like an arrow. You've stopped the whole thing. And the whole thing is just diving in. The band was no longer defenseless. In front of the terrified faces of the two brothers, even line and sideline, along with the face of music. I'm still sweating in surprise. It's over. Ming Ming's hand gripped the hilt of the sword, to the point where the blood can't circulate anymore. The sword's handle was broken in half. Min uses all the power, ever since I sucked milk into the sword. The sword tore through the air and cut it down. The road music army. Blood immediately shot out. The sound of a sharp sword slashing at the flesh. It's loud and clear. Their bodies seem to have frozen in place. Time stops when they face each other. One side is painful. On one side is shock. Their contrasting emotions are intertwined. The face of the line of music has now become distorted. From when? And you start by opening your mouth. With eyes full of angry fire. 10 moves. The old man cheated. The light slowly fell behind. Than Min's body bag. It's completely beneath the ground. The line of music staring, with dazed eyes. Min is lying motionless with a stick pointing. Ever since it was stuck in his back. The name of the face of the current line of music has become distorted, like the devil. His eyes, it contains all the anger in the world. And then he saw the road stretching out his hand in front of him. This wasteland name. You don't know what honor is. How dare you intrude and dirty our war like that? The road to face the wrath of the road to music. Trembling quagmire, 7 subjects. Subject master. I did it all because of the silent master. The band was angry. They just launched a chancery, immediately flew back and shed blood. It doesn't seem like enough. Make the line of music appease him constantly. I gritted my teeth because, in this world, there are no 7 more embarrassing defeats than these 7. Than Min, AAA. No, please clear. Hoa disciples painted immediately, to the place where the light fell. I found him completely unresponsive, like a dead body. They don't know how. I can only call in vain. Please go and wake up. Look at the people screaming in vain. But Min still has no response. The band completely knows how critical is the state of the Min. He's still very angry, but the situation is too urgent, so the loudest voice just called out. A body image appears in a black robe. Appeared behind the music road. Yes, master. Take Hoa-san, then long to medicine sugar. Talk to the doctors. We must save his life at all costs. If the dragon god is dead, sugar medicine holder sugar, with all the doctors in medicine. They will have to be cremated. The line of music turned its eyes to a corner where the electricity had collapsed with cold eyes. It's like the whole northern wind and snow. The master must also die. The heavy words made my whole body cold. Subordinates obey orders when you want to get close to the Min. The disciples of the painting Hoa hurriedly prevented, the head of which is white sky. He pulled out his sword with his eyes in the air. Can't get close. The sword, calm down. Calm down, Sao. If we don't calm down, I've stuck this sword in your neck. The way the music sighed. The world's first medicine. In this Sichuan, where can the best cure for dragon flower? It's the road. White sky answered firmly, like where we can't trust the most right now. It's also the road. Bite your lips if it's normal. He would never listen to these children. Of the junior, like what sugar does. He took away all the opportunity to argue. We lost. This battle we lost. And we lost in the most humiliating way. That's why I'm lacking. Give me a chance to restore my honor. And can prove that the road is not a despicable place. The line of music bowed to the white sky. I beg you. See that form. White sky also surprised for a moment, and then he dropped his weapon. My enemy can survive. We will do our best to save the boy. Don't gnash your teeth. Even if you have to sacrifice the future of the road, I will also save the Dragon Ball. White Angel grinds her teeth. I can see that the sky is turning green and cold. Like a body. It is better to embrace the clear light directly. You should keep your promise. Moving the scene to a rather obscure place. What am I doing? The smell of blood coming straight into my nose, along with the gas that makes the skin burn. Everything is strange. I just saw that you're in a canyon. The top. There are people who look bad. He's still thinking so strangely. At the same time, the Kier. They are also quickly coming to attack you. In front of the surprised face, the enemies are fast approaching. At that time, the chief. Loud call, with a series of attacks from behind. Quickly defeat the enemies. Look at those who have fallen to the ground. With a somewhat apathetic eye. The voice from behind kept coming. What are you doing? We're in a battle. You are so strange today, not like you at all. The voice is of the line. I didn't expect to hear the sword either. Looks like we're a little exhausted. Exhaust is right. We've been fighting for 3 days and 3 nights. Looks like you're really exhausted, brother. You can't even talk. Or you can eat a wicker. No need. I can't believe what you're giving me. You can't do that again. Others that hear the spirit Dan. The secret of the path is to light up your eyes. Eat right away. You don't believe in my way. I believe in you, but I can't trust you. Ha, you are self-conscious again. This time I was wrong. That's why I gave you poison. I only get the mouth. Their team has been completely destroyed. And that also means the battle is on our side. No. Right, if not. Then we have no reason to suffer like this. At the right time, I can feel a cold feeling on. My hands should turn around. Don't tell me you're putting gasoline on his hand. If you are injured without immediate treatment, you will suffer. How many times do I have to tell you this? My face is broken, even if it goes away on its own. Yes, it's self-healing. But if you apply the medicine, it'll heal faster. Stand still for a moment. Don't tell me to tear off your shirt and apply it layer by layer. Kim's class came to him. Kim sang esoteric medicine of the way. You can't buy it with money. You should be grateful to me. Every time you open your mouth, you don't like this kind of stuff. That's it. That's it. I often use the resources of the road. Not liking is one thing, but using resources is another matter. Don't tell your face there's a sudden flash of bitterness. More than that, we didn't know before. But now we seem to know. Why is my family so determined? If we don't have power, we have nothing. If it's a little bit stronger. People didn't have to run away either. From Sichuan like that. And the people of my family. You don't have to die that much. I've been thinking like this lately, brother. If you don't ignore every word of those in the family, trust them and motivate them. Maybe the power is stronger. That way there will be more survivors.